All right, good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight for another edition of our Unplugged live stream. Uh, I've got my normal co hosts, Rodney and Eric, with me, but we've got a special guest tonight, Eric with Country Living Experience. And that actually helped me because I looked at the text on the screen so that I can see Country Living Experience and get it right. Um,
Nice. Good job.
Hopefully, we don't have any internet issues tonight. We have already gone through about 3 or 4 of them so far, and it almost looks like Eric with Country Living Experience is frozen right now. But it's not me.
Oh no.
I, I,
I
I
don't
think he
think
closed
so.
his tab. He might have closed the
Oh
tab
yeah.
for this program.
Oh yeah. He was like, I'm gonna close
Okay.
up my tabs real quick.
He'll probably reconnect.
So yeah, he'll reconnect here in a second. Oh, there it goes. It dropped.
At least
Man.
on the stream, we
I was
look
like, man,
good
he's
from what I
holding
see.
still. Good.
I was yeah, I was hoping that it was
Stay
going to
right.
work well tonight. And then we start having issues every time I run a speed test.
Look, somebody said the same thing I said. Original Eric and new Eric.
I know. Every time
Oh.
someone says that, I feel like I'm being replaced. It's just like, oh, it's the new Eric.
All right, here we go.
What
He's
about the
coming
old
back
Eric?
in. There we go.
Oh man,
Hey,
he's back.
Welcome to the stream.
yeah,
We've got
thanks for
Eric.
joining us.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate you having me.
you apparently there's other folks saying original Eric and new Eric in the comments. So,
Well, which one of us is older? So that would be original Eric.
That's true.
well,
I'm 51, Eric.
for anybody that's not
Oh,
familiar with your channel, Eric from Country Living Experience, can you share a little bit about what your channel's about, kind of who you are for anybody that it's never I have a hard time believing that anybody on our stream hasn't come across your channel before, but just in case.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, where do I start? All the way back at childhood? No, probably not. Maybe a little bit. I grew up in the state of Michigan. I have a graduate degree in architecture. I worked as an architect in Washington, D.C., lived there for 6.5 years, moved to Texas, lived in Houston for 4.5 years, and then decided to head north into the more quieter areas of Texas, get away from the hustle and bustle of the city, and provide differently for my family. And in doing that, I decided to start a YouTube channel and document my journey. A friend of mine had actually done that too. He also lives here now in East Texas, Pete B, his Pete B's Homestead. And so he encouraged me to get into YouTube, and then I just started showing everything that I was doing, from gardening to construction to fixing and repairing my vehicles, whatever it was that I felt kind of went along with the self-sufficient mindset, and I started putting that out, and then I knew that I wanted to do solar for my home. So I researched it for quite a bit of time, and the one thing that I found consistent was extremely high shipping costs, and I didn't want to pay those. So I looked for a place that was close enough to me where I could drive and pick up the equipment, and at the same time having the equipment that I had researched and wanted. And that place was Signature Solar. And yeah, I think I've been going up there since September of 21. So almost 4 years, closing in on 4 years. And my solar journey began then with the research I'd done. I'd never done anything with electricity before, believe it or not, which was funny because my grandfather was an electrician. I'm self-taught, and when I went up there, they were very nice. They sat down with me and answered every question. I had taken with me a notebook and drawings about how things should be connected, and I said, "Is this right? What size wire? Is this correct? Is it correct?" And they were great. And I ended up actually talking with and sitting down with John Showalter, James's brother,
Okay.
who's no longer with Signature Solar. He's doing his own thing, I think, in heating and cooling. But the whole Showalter family, all of the brothers, they do something related to this industry. And, yeah, so then I just started putting them together. And when I would run into a question that I needed answer, I would call them, or I would watch Will Prowse, or David Paz,
Mhm.
or or I have a friend who's an electrician who lives probably 30 minutes from me. So he would come over and answer a question or two. And yeah, everything was great. And my first system was the Growatt 5000 ES/US model. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
And yeah.
And he did send in some pictures of some different aspects of his solar setup, and we'll get to those here in just a second. I did drop in Eric's YouTube channel and his Signature Solar information, affiliate link, coupon code, that kind of stuff down into the chat. If anybody's interested in taking a look at his channel directly or even making a purchase through Signature Solar. I haven't had the benefit of being able to drive there and see anybody because it'd be quite a bit of a drive for me, Rodney and myself both.
Yeah.
But when you call them up, especially now, I mean, it seems like you're barely on hold for a minute or two, and then you're chatting with somebody that can help you out. So that was always nice. Let me.
Yeah, I have a little story about that if you want me to
Go
chime
ahead.
in. I had an issue early on just with a connection issue, and sometimes Signature Solar's, or at least in the old days, I guess I could say now, 4 years ago, their technical, their tech services would get a bad rap. But I never had that experience. The first problem that I had in the connection, they sat on the phone with me for over 45 minutes, it just trying everything, over and over and over and over again. And actually, it was once they had exhausted what the issue was, James was walking by them. They called him over, and he said, "Hey, try this," and it was something none of us had thought about, and it worked. So it was just they didn't give up. That's what I'm trying to say. They wanted to solve the problem, which was just fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah. I had the
Yeah.
same thing a couple of weeks ago doing this Grid Boss install, and I was trying to start up everything, and I just couldn't get an initialize. I figured I had something like a little wrong, so I just called up the regular Signature Solar number. Within 10 or 15 seconds, I was on the phone with somebody. Within 5 or 10 minutes, my problem was solved, and I was done. My 12K PV, I had did all the updates, but apparently it only updated halfway, but it said it was complete, so I guess they could see that on their end. And they updated it, and I did switch 2 cables around on the Grid Boss, the communication cables. I switched them around, and everything was fine. So it's just easy to give them a call now. So if anybody buys anything for Signature Solar and you got a problem, give them a call. They are very good now. They have a lot more people, of course, that are going to get on the phone very fast. Of course, everybody's not going to have the same knowledge, but a lot of times they do have knowledge. So
I was going to say, in the event I hate to say this, but if you call them up and you just don't get your problem solved, call again. They've got like 200 people working in their call center or whatever it is. Get somebody else, and hopefully you'll get it solved. I called in there the other day, and basically the person's entire argument or their entire solution was go get a different router because you can't have a dual band router. You have to have a single 2.4 gigahertz router. I'm just like, this can't be the solution. And where can you even find one at this point that just has 2.4? And so I was like, whatever. So I was like, okay, thanks for your help. I'm not getting anywhere with you. So I just hung up and eventually got it to work. So without buying a new router, by the way. So that was commissioning a grid boss.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are both
Yeah,
commissioning grid bosses.
Wow. Yeah.
When are you getting
It's
yours,
the-
Eric, with country living experience?
No, I don't think I will. Honestly, that's probably one piece of equipment that that I'm not going to run. Just
And you're
the
fully
way I
off
run
grid,
my
right?
system. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely
with the caveat that I still do have a grid connection to the house, but I just I switch it like a generator. It's just always on the solar, unless we have, and Eric knows this, 15 days in a row of rain.
Oh my
It
gosh,
just
it's
doesn't
been
stop.
so bad. It's
So
rough.
my whole reasoning for getting a grid boss, I'm not going to be selling back to the grid. I didn't do no permits. Y'all know how. I mean, okay, new Eric, you might not know that, but I don't
Oh, I
like
didn't know
dealing
that.
with the government and permits and all that stuff. So I got mine just so I don't have to manually turn my grid off and basically turn my solar off and turn it back on. And I can use multiple hybrid inverters that I've got to test out. And so I got the FlexBoss 18 and then the 12K PV, and I'm going to be able to use those to run my house. And so it just worked out for me, just for my specific situation. But I'm not going to be selling back or anything. It's just going to be a way so I don't have to do anything. It's going to do everything on its own. So I do like that. And just the testing is fun too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be the only reason I could see a lot of us really getting a grid boss is just the ability to be able to meld multiple size inverters together. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all trying to unplug from that grid, remove that reliance, take care of things on our own. And so, having that grid connection is nice in the event you've got the 15 days of rain,
And then
in
I could just
Michigan, cloudy days for 2 months in a row. But
And here the big thing is hurricanes, and I want to be able to charge my batteries if I'm at work or something. I just want to be able to push a button and charge my batteries. Everybody, you might not know, but my 6000 XPs that I've been using, I didn't have grid connection to them. So if I wanted to charge the batteries, I kind of had to manually do everything and hook up a cable from a 50 amp plug on the grid over to it. So my stuff's kind of jerry rigged, I guess. So I won't have to do that anymore. Once I get everything changed over. I'm still moving over breakers, so I'm not completely done with everything, but it's going good.
Now, Rodney, now that I'm hearing you talk about it, maybe I will.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah, the wheels are turning now. Another project.
Because it's just all automated. So, and you can hook up different inverters. And when you're doing testing, you can just hook them up to it if you wanted to do that as well. If you got a hybrid outdoor inverter, so.
See, now what would be really nice, and I don't know if, and I'm getting, you guys have gotten me completely off track in talking about this, but I'm rolling with it. What would be really nice is, can the grid boss have the grid connection controlled through the monitoring site or the software? So the actual grid relays opened and closed using that monitoring software. Does anybody know?
So you mean completely just turn it off?
Completely.
I'm not sure.
So
I know you can change some settings to make it pull the batteries down more and stuff like that, but
right.
At some point it might automatically turn itself on.
I'm thinking more like an off-grid mode, similar to what the 18K PV has, an off-grid mode where it actually disconnects the breaker so you're not backfeeding anything. Because there's always potential when you're running over those grid lines or the AC input, there's always potential of something eking back to the
Mhm.
grid. So I'm wondering, is there actually an off-grid mode that'll completely open the breaker or the relays on that grid connection and only close them when you're telling it to actually utilize and pull from grid power?
I'm thinking there is, but
Hmm.
That's
I don't
interesting.
know.
I haven't did it yet. So
I don't have any of that stuff, so I have to live vicariously through you guys. I get to
Yeah,
ask
well,
all
I'm not
these
going to be
questions.
experimenting like that kind of stuff on my buddy's
Oh,
flex
Mitch
boss
will be
grid boss.
fine with
So
it.
yeah, yeah. Just have to explain to his wife why the power keeps turning off.
Shh.
I've already had to do that a few times. Yeah.
okay, it says it has an off-grid mode that you can enable, and it says if absolute zero export when there. It says it is for absolute zero export when there's an AC connection. When enabled, the battery discharges power to load first, and the grid will not assist in powering loads, and the batteries will not charge from the AC unless the AC charge is enabled. So
Okay.
it sounds like you can, and it won't send anything back. Of
So
course, I'm gonna have
cool.
mine not sending anything back. I think it's gonna work fine, but I guess we'll
Yeah,
see.
but still gives you some ideas of like you said, Eric, new projects, and if you ever get different sized hybrid inverters, now
Yeah.
you can
Mhm.
blend them together.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see how much the equipment has, I guess, evolved, but just changed over the past just 4 years.
Oh yeah.
How far
Yeah.
solar has come for residential, it's unreal. It's
Yeah.
really fascinating. And you got your old stalwarts like I've got the Victron system out at the barn, and that one just runs. It just does its thing, which
Mhm.
is nice. Um, but yeah, who knows what they're gonna come up with next week? It's just unreal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it really sounds like here in September that they're going to be going like full force with the high voltage stuff. That's just the feeling I'm getting from the little tidbits that James has dropped here and there, and
Hmm.
I think that's the direction it's going. So
Like you're
yeah,
talking
September's
I don't
about
know.
coming
That'll be
750 volt.
fast.
so Mike Mike's G will he'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Mike's here in the comments today. Yeah, there he goes. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Well, before I get to jumping into the comments and welcoming folks from the comments, Rodney, how you been? What you been up to? I know we're almost 20 minutes into the stream and we're seeing how you guys are doing, but we're gonna do it anyways.
Oh, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Just working on a lot of projects around the house that's not solar related. I haven't got a video out. I couldn't tell you how long. Look, I was trying to edit the videos. I thought I was gonna have it out last weekend, and then some of the footage is messed up. So I have ND
Oh,
filters. This is non-solar related, people, but I got to tell you, because I got to tell somebody. I got ND filters on my camera, and I got cheap ones off of Amazon, and they kind of messed up the picture. They were kind of like spotty and stuff like that.
mm.
So I ended up
Oh
buying
man.
some good ND filters. I'm at to refilm basically everything. So that's where I'm at. I know I've been telling everybody I'm gonna get a video out forever, but it just hadn't happened. It just life, I guess.
It's nice
It
outside.
happens.
It gets hard.
Yeah.
You say it's
So,
nice outside?
well, I mean, kinda.
It's very hot here.
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees. No, I
Yeah,
don't know what it was
Yeah.
today.
so
It
we've
was hot.
got
It was like,
Texas
I don't
has
wanna be
all
outside.
rain. North Carolina, you've got what? Just hot temperatures right now.
The hot temperatures right now. For the last several weeks though, it's been raining, so
I
but
mean,
it's hot.
I had mid 80s on Tuesday, severe storms and rain yesterday. We're upper 60s today, and then we're going into the 90s tomorrow.
Yeah. It said it was
So ride
92
that
today,
roller coaster.
but it's
Yep.
humid.
Okay.
Adam, where are you again? Are you in Virginia or
I'm Michigan.
you're Michigan? Okay.
Yep.
So I remember that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Man,
So
is.
original Eric, What you been up to?
Which
he
one
froze?
is that?
Oh, sorry. I was reading comments. I just
I thought you
assumed were
guys froze
talking.
on me. I'm like, what did I do?
No, I was looking at John Guyver's super chat, thinking about should I interrupt and talk about the super chat because you got one. And anyway, sorry, that's what I was thinking. And then I was reading,
That's nice,
Mike,
John.
he's excited about the high voltage stuff, and yeah. Anyway, your question was,
How's it going?
How are you
oh,
doing?
it's good. That's good. Man, I've taken a little detour with, instead of this stuff that's back behind me. As some of you guys might have seen, I dropped a video today on a soft case for the Starlink Mini, and it's actually a really great high quality case. If you take your Starlink Mini anywhere other than just like the top of your car, it's a great product for that. And then I went and picked up an Ego shop vac that I'm doing a review on, and I really like the Ego products. Just there's something about that big old battery, was it 60 volts or whatever it is. Just really like that. Then so I've got a few products coming out on that kind of area. Just yeah, just having fun. Just kind of playing with stuff that I like.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
I did something y'all won't believe. I bought a gas lawnmower this week.
Did you really?
What?
Why?
Yeah, so because my son is they're at a camp with church all week. They had like it's during the day and at night, and I'm like, I'm not getting out here and using this push lawnmower. I went and bought a riding lawnmower. So I said he's gonna be gone in a couple of years. I'm gonna have to cut the grass anyway. So
Yep.
I said there's no kids, I said I ain't going out here. It's a self-propelled electric, but I'm like I ain't got time for this. I went and bought a gas little riding lawnmower, and my son, it sounded excited because he's going to use it.
Don't you got like
There ain't
15
nothing wrong with
kids?
that.
So it's gonna be a while
Uh,
before you don't have any kids in the house.
Most of them are girls, so I'm probably not going to make them do the yard
Girls
work.
can mow the yard too.
They
So I've
can,
heard.
but
Yeah.
I don't have any.
I probably
My
won't make
girl
them.
mows.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
All
But
right. So
both my boys are older, so one of them's in his 20s, the other one's just turned 16, so he'll be out of here in a couple of years probably.
I do need to say thank you to John for the super chat, as well as Joe for the super chat as well. We've got 2 super chats in there. And I'm going to jump back up to the top. And I know folks were 23 minutes into this stream, but I'm going to say good evening to Joe, Retro Z Machine. Let's see here. Mike, Brian, Donnie, Color Maker, Roy. Boy, I'm not going to be able to get through all this list because there's 126 comments already. You guys have been chatting this whole time. Jim, Betty, Doug, DC Possum. Somebody, and I finally figured this one out. So the past few weeks we've had this person. Let's see here, right here. It's Red Bull. We'd been trying to pronounce it. REBU77.
Rebel.
Rebel. It's supposed to be like
Rebel.
Red Bull.
Or Revel.
I'm glad you figured that out. I guess I had no idea.
Let us know phonetically how to say it if we're all wrong. That's great.
But yeah, so
hey, they can tell us yes or no there, I guess.
I see Mitch, Bebop, Chuck, Ye Old Traveler, man, Grace. So many names that I see every weekend. We just want to say thank you guys for
you guys
jumping
are
on
awesome.
and joining us, because if it was just, the 3 of us talking or with the occasional guest, it'd be really boring without you guys constantly coming and joining us. So I did ask Eric to, new Eric, Country Living Experience Eric, to send in some pictures of his different setups and install. And so I'm going to start inside. And Eric, if you want to talk a little bit about what you've got going on here in your power room.
Yeah. We've got 3 indoor wall mount batteries, which are such a beautiful space saver. And before we went live, we were talking a little bit about batteries and form factor and all that. I love the G4LL batteries that I started with, but they certainly did take up quite a bit of space. And this room that you're looking at is very small, and I built it specifically to house the equipment and then do some other things like some food storage and food prep. Um, and that's so I get all excited about form factor. You know, being an architect, design is my thing, and um, so I was also excited for that wall mount 100 amp hour battery that you see
Mm-hmm.
kind of in the middle, hanging straight up on the wall right there. Those things are really nice. And then I tested that 12,000 XP. It's currently not connected. We have if we have the FlexBoss 21 mounted outside currently,
You still got your
and there it
server
is.
racks?
I do, and I need to do a video on proper storage for them. So look out for that one coming soon. Uh, but that FlexBoss paired with the indoor wall mounts and then that Pites box, wow! It's just I don't know. There's no difference in the energy density of those batteries versus and maybe you guys can talk about a little bit more technical. This is a question I have, and I talked to the Signature Solar guys too. But for some reason, this battery bank with the Pites and the indoor wall mounts, the efficiency of the use of the battery seems better. Maybe that's the FlexBoss doing a better job,
Hmm.
or I don't know. It's just they seem to go and go and go and go, which is really fantastic when you're off grid.
So that Pites does it have 4 batteries inside it?
Yeah, it's got 4 100 amp hour batteries inside. It's got external breakers. You can just barely see them on the side there, and yeah, it's really nice. I did a full install video of that FlexBoss and that Pites, and I think it's just a great. If you have a small space inside, and this was my whole reason for kind of doing this, is that small space inside. If you can move some things outside, it's really fantastic because my house, isn't that big at all. So having certain things outside was really great.
Let's see here. I think I've got a couple more. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong button. I'm like, why is it not displaying? There we go.
The original array, which is the big one behind. Yeah, that one. I was very fortunate when it was my second trip or first trip up to Signature Solar. Maybe I asked about it the first trip and picked them up the second trip. That is a racking system from Power Solar Frames from
Okay.
Arizona, and it's for installers. But Signature Solar, before they used to do installs, like maybe a year before I got up there. So maybe in 2020, they were still doing installs, and they still had extra frames and racks sitting behind the warehouse. And I had asked John Showalter, I said, hey, do you guys have any racking system solutions? He's like, no, we're just not selling anything like that right now. Says, oh, but I have these things laying in the back of the warehouse or back behind it. Maybe you'd be interested.
Hmm.
And I said, yeah, how's it go together? And he told me. And
It's nice, it's for sure.
yeah, he cut me a deal on it, which was really nice of him to do. Um, and then I needed to add panels in the front. So that power solar frame holds 20. Those are solar evers, 445 watt solar evers.
Okay.
And in the front, we've got the Sirius panels. You can see I didn't blow the grass off of them before I took the picture, but it happens. And those are on the bright mounts, the EG4 bright mounts, the adjustable bright mount.
That's the newer bright mount, or is that the original?
No, that's the original. and
Okay.
those serious panels were actually a little too wide. So I do have an extension kit for it, but as Rodney said earlier, it's on the list of things to do. So I can actually put an 8th panel on there, but I just haven't done it yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I don't
Oh,
remember
yeah.
seeing the panels on the coop roof before.
Yeah. I think it's when you did the Victron, right?
This is the Victron, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think I thought you were gonna fall or something. Like, was that your video? Was that this?
oh, I don't know.
I don't like.
I don't know.
I don't like doing anything with a roof. I can tell you that.
Oh.
Now, this was one of those
Yeah.
like shed kits, wasn't it? That you
This is
converted
a shed
in?
kit from Lowe's, and then so I divided it between the window and those two doors right there. I put an interior wall, and so it's 2/3 for the chickens on the right hand side, and 1/3 for the solar space on the left hand side. And then I bought an exterior door and cut it in on that end, and then extended the roof out just so I could fit enough panels up there. And there are actually 2 panels on the north side. Those face directly south.
Okay.
But there are 2 panels on the north side. They get a decent amount of sun because it's a fairly shallow roof pitch.
And those 6 panels that you have can supply all the power needs for your coop. And don't you have your well running off of that one too?
Correct. Yeah, I've got a well that doesn't supply the house. The well
Okay.
is just for the barn and irrigation on the property. We've got a rural water system out here that provides for the house, but eventually that will pump to the house as well. So these are 2 Victron Multi+2s, and then 3 EG4 LL batteries in that little space right there, and that runs everything: compressor, table saw, little welder, the pump for the rainwater tanks, and the well pump. Runs it.
And the rainwater tanks, what are you using that for? So nothing yet, or?
Well, good question. It is piped into my irrigation system because the wells in this area of Texas are contaminated with salt. And salt and growing vegetables don't go very good hand in hand. But most people around here don't grow vegetables, they grow cows. And the cows do not mind the salty water.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So those rainwater tanks are, clean water to divert into my garden and my greenhouse. And because I had all kinds of problems, if you have too much salt in your soil, it ties up all the other minerals and it won't allow the plant to uptake calcium and magnesium specifically. And then, weak cell walls and weak plants invite bugs, and then they bring disease, and it's just downhill from there.
So yeah, I mean, even just sitting and listening to you talk about the plants and the salt, it just shows a little picture of some of the different things that you talk about on your channel, because it's not just solar stuff. It's not just, singularly focused. Actually, it's kind of like both Eric's channels. They're homestead style channels. So you're going to get more than just the solar content.
It's all about self-reliance. I love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I think I have 75 videos on the solar projects now, but I have 700 videos total on the channel. Yeah.
Very nice.
I've been doing this for almost going on 10 years.
We have a ways to go.
Yeah. You guys are doing great. You'll catch up quick.
We'll
I'm
catch
sure.
up.
Yep.
So as some of you know from the past, if you've got questions for any of us, including Eric from Country Living Experience, if you can add QQQ to the beginning, it just gives me the ability to search through the chat a little bit faster.
No
you know,
spaces. I did see
we've
a
gone
QQQ come
through-
through with spaces, and that will
What's the
not show
meaning
up
of
in his search.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, we've
throwing
gone
that
through
out there.
different iterations of how to find things, and just adding random these random cues seem to work best. So, first question that I see here is from Mike. He wants to know what your guys' thoughts are on vertical panels. So
Ah,
we'll start with Eric from Country Living Experience, then go to Rodney, and then East Texas Homestead Eric.
well, what did I see? Whose channel is that? I'm gonna totally mind blank here. He did some great experiments on vertical panels. Oh, it wasn't Gavin. It was.
Is it
Oh,
everyday
Was
something?
it?
Was
Oh yeah,
I know
yeah,
who you're
yeah.
talking about.
Solar?
Everyday Dave. Everyday Dave.
Everyday
yeah,
Dave,
yeah.
yeah.
Projects with Everyday Dave.
Yep. Projects with Everyday Dave.
Yep.
He's got a great channel. He's actually been a Signature Solar affiliate as long as I have. He's been around for a while, and he does some really. I think he's an electrical engineer, if I'm not mistaken, or some sort of engineer. Anyway, yeah. So check out Everyday Dave. He did some good experiments with it. I've never experimented with vertical panels.
Rodney, anything?
Yeah, I have. I think I got a couple of videos on that, but the bottom line, what I came up with is it's not going to be as efficient as you just having some south facing panels at a 45 or a 30-degree angle or whatever, depending on where you stay at. But in the right situation, if you don't have anywhere else to put them and you have to use them as a fence, you could, and at least you would get some power. So I'm not going to say it's absolutely, unnecessary for everybody, but it just depends on your situation. It's just not going to be the best or the ideal thing. And if you have bifacials, though, it will work.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched both projects with Everyday Dave's channel and like his videos on that, and Rodney's videos, and I haven't experimented with it myself, but both of them were pretty informative. So it works. Is it the best? Yeah, depends on your situation.
In the snow, it probably works better. I think that's what he showed, I think, in one of his videos.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's what I was going to say. And even in my area, it wouldn't do much good except for wintertime when I can get that reflective light. Plus, you don't have to clean them.
Yeah.
We did end up. Oh, I got to clear this. We did get another super chat from Chuck. Does advertising work? It just did. SolarCon 2026.
I love that.
Nice.
I do want to try and get see if I can get Dave on the live stream sometime. I think that would be fun too.
Yeah.
Roy wants to know, how's the midnight inverter doing and would I do it again? Well, they're running behind me. They're still running the house. There have been multiple times during these different live streams when I can tell they're running, the fans are going, but even being 2 feet from the inverters, they're still super quiet when those fans are running. The software, it needs some love. But once you program it, you really forget about it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the biggest change in the last couple of years, from the grow watts I started with to the new inverters, the EG4 stuff, the Lux Power, whatever you want to call it. Man, these things are super quiet if you're not using a lot of power, at least. And it's just unbelievable. Sometimes if you didn't have something like that physically showed you it was on, a light or something, you'd be like, is this thing running? It's just so quiet. It's crazy.
Well, I think, Eric, Country Living Experience, you had the EG4 6500s, didn't you?
I did.
The jet engines that would take off when you tried to run anything.
Yeah, you know what? The last firmware update I did to those, they were working flawlessly. And actually, they didn't ramp up as much. I don't know what it was internally with the programming, but they did work it out right in the end, right before they decided to do the exchange program, and they were working perfect.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it took a while to get there.
they did seem to finally nail some things down, and from my experience and from a lot of folks that I chatted with, if you didn't have the grid connected to them at all, then there was really almost no problems. But
Hmm.
once you started having that grid connection, that's when there started to be those little issues, and I think even
Hmm.
Signature Solar and EG4 realized that, and which is when they said, "Hey, let's switch over to these other ones." And
Hmm.
I don't think
See, I didn't have
anybody's
the
looking back now.
6500 EXs. I had the 6000 EXs, and man,
Oh
like
yeah,
when I had two of them working together, those were the low frequency ones with the big old core. I mean, they were so heavy. And man, when they would click over, it would scare you to death. I mean, if you were standing anywhere within 20 feet of them, they'd introduce like, I mean, oh, it was crazy. But two of them worked great. Then I added a third one, and then it just fell apart. I
Hmm.
guess they're paralleling
Mhm.
software. You're supposed to be able to get like 16 of them, but a third just completely destroyed it. And I could never get them to work again. So yeah, that was really frustrating because they're really nice. Other than you know not working when you had the third. So but no, I mean, but even then though, whenever I swapped them out with the upgrade program to these 6000 XPs, it was night and day. I mean, just the simplicity, they're just so nice.
yeah.
Hmm.
They're still my favorite inverter,
Mhm.
hands down. They're great.
So Jim wants to know, for a 200-foot wire run, can aluminum wire work as well as copper?
So I have a 200. Well, I've got a 300 foot. Excuse me. I have a 300 foot from the grid drop to my house. That's 4/0 aluminum, and it's direct burial. And then I have, in fact, that then goes into my barn. I kind of cut my barn into it, spliced into the middle of it, and then it goes to the house. And then I take aluminum down 800 feet to the well. And then that goes down an additional 500 feet to the water. So all
Wow.
of that's aluminum, and it works. So there's a little bit of voltage drop down there, but I've got 4/0, like I said here, and then I have 2/0, I believe, or maybe it's 1/0 going to the well. So works for me.
It's cheaper.
Much cheaper.
Definitely is.
I mean, the only thing that I've heard, because I haven't dealt with it directly, is with aluminum, you'll have to upsize your wire a little bit,
Hmm.
um, just to compensate for those losses a little bit more. But other than
Hmm.
that, I mean, a lot of those longer runs, because copper's so much more expensive, they'll go with aluminum.
I've heard. I'm not 100% on this too. Is that its rate of expansion is different than copper as well.
Hmm.
So you might
Yeah.
need to keep an eye on it for loose connections.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's a
Um,
good point.
Yeah.
yeah.
Retort
I've
your
never had one come
connections.
loose, but yeah, it is a thing that can happen.
All right. Joe wants to know, can EG4 gear connect to Home Assistant? You can have whatever you want then. I have Victron and there's no limit there. Have any
This
of you
was
guys
back
ever
during the
mentioned?
conversation. This was when you were asking about having the grid actually like disconnect.
Okay.
And so that's when this comment came through, just for some
Okay.
context.
So have any of you guys done anything with Home Assistant?
No.
No.
I have installed it on my NAS here, but I haven't done anything with it. Just been too busy. But it's running, just with nothing's happening.
The data's there. I mean, for EG4 gear, because obviously it can go to Solar Assistant, and you can
And
piggyback from
Solar
Solar
Assistant can then
Assistant
right.
piggybacks into Home Assistant, which just cleans up the data. But it's there. It's just you'd have to find the registers and everything to program it in. I would think. I haven't done it, but it's got to be doable, I would imagine. Chuck would like to know if any of you guys in your wiring journey, because you've all installed different systems, have any of you guys used the wire piercing line taps to send grid power to your inverters?
Mm-mm.
So he's
No, I've
No,
never even seen
that
it on anything large like that. I've seen it on just like automotive, like
Yeah, that's
real
all.
like
I've done
12
that
volt.
on automotive.
yeah. Yeah, I
so
didn't know
that's why
that
I
you
put the whole
could.
new panel in. I know I haven't put out a video, so you guys don't know, but y'all have heard me talking about it. My main panel,
Believe it when
with
I
all
see
my
it.
breakers in it. I got another panel right next to it that I'm moving all the breakers over to, and that's just so I didn't have to do any permitting, and my meter goes straight into that. And so I'm just going to use my old main panel box as my I guess my
Disconnect.
200 amp disconnect. I guess that's what it's going to be. And that's just because I didn't want to do permitting. I mean, if you want to do the permits, you could have your electric company pull the meter, and I could have just ran everything from the grid boss, and my power just, kind of in and out and just hook directly up to that meter base and change it out. But that's a lot of permitting and government involvement. So
I'll tell you what, we actually pulled a meter recently and just called up the utility company and said, hey, like they actually have a meter disconnect number. Just called them up and said, hey, I'm going to be doing some maintenance at the house. Gonna pull it. And they said, okay, when
they
are you
won't
going to
let
have
me
it
do
back
that
in? I
here.
said, will they not? No, man.
You have to
Well,
do a
bummer.
permit with the county, and of course they're gonna want to know why you're doing it, and gonna want to get paid for everything you're doing. And then the electric company is gonna want to come. They come out and charge you and pull it. And if you don't have it back in within their normal operating hours, then there's another fee on top of that. Oh yeah,
Good
it's just a
grief.
big game. Hey, instead of paying them hundreds of dollars, I spent hundreds of dollars on another panel and just doing it all, moving it all myself.
Man,
Hey,
might be cheaper to
I just don't
move.
want to give the government money. I'm just not into that. Not unless I
I
have
like the
to.
way you think, Rodney.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I know we've got some folks even in the chat that have done a lot of installs. And I know Eric, East Texas Homestead, follows the chats as we're talking. And I think Rodney might as well. So if you've dealt with any of these wire piercing line taps on mains before, drop that in the chat and see if we can help Chuck out. I didn't know that they even make them that large. And I would be honestly kind of concerned about piercing into a live feeder line like that. But I'm no electrician. Could be commonplace. This question looks like it might be more for Eric from Country Living Experience. The new 100 amp hour battery that you had mounted on the wall, does that communicate with the Power Pros?
No, not that I have been able to figure out with Signature Solar. No.
Okay.
And since it has different wire size, if you watch the video, I had to connect it into a common bus bar, which is the common bus bar that my charge verter is connected to, and that works fine. But it doesn't, not yet, I guess.
Okay.
I've heard rumblings, but you never know when they're gonna change things up a little bit.
And look, just to tell everybody, I have all kinds of different batteries hooked up, and I don't have them all communicating, and they work fine.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
anytime you call Signature Solar, going to tell you, we should get all these batteries communicating. I'm like, I have enough batteries so it can get full solar in and full discharge out. I got 11 of them, I think, communicating. I'm like, why do I need to do the rest? It's all on the same bus bars. It's going to figure it out. And it always does. So
yeah.
if you use your system, it's going to work, in my opinion. So
Yeah, and Will Prowse used to run so many different batteries,
Oh, yeah.
banks all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it all worked fine.
So Mike's Garage says, I purchased a 3-phase 200 amp transfer switch. What are your thoughts on switching the 2 hots and the neutral between solar inverters and the grid? I don't want to share neutrals with the Duke. I'm assuming Duke Power.
Yeah, probably.
Man, just make sure. I guess if it's a, not a 3-way switch, whatever, it's a 3-pole switch, and you can make sure that that neutral is on or off, or you always have your neutral. Super important. I did one point. I had like a real janky setup going on where I had I was trying to make sure I wasn't sharing the neutral with the grid as well. And so I had like a manual switch for that. And then I had one over where I was manually disconnecting the 2 hots. And I forgot to go that route. And I forgot to turn back on the neutral at the same time or beforehand or whatever it was, whatever my process was. And every single surge protector in the house blew up. I mean, like
Wow.
they lost it, man. It was bad. I mean, it just, the lights are like just going crazy, and my wife comes flying out, and she's just like, "The house is on fire!" And, yeah, it was terrible. So you can really screw things up if your neutral gets disconnected or was not connected in the first place. So yeah, be careful with that.
Say, Eric from Country Living Experience, you use a generator interlock kit, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I landed
And-
on I think it's a 90 amp breaker.
Okay.
Flex Boss, and just flip over the interlock and flip off the grid and turn on my system. It was the simplest way to do it.
Mhm.
And, for my brain, that was the easiest for me to understand. The cheapest way to do it also at the beginning was to just do an interlock kit because they're $30 and just run it into that breaker and done. And I wasn't running AC pass-through any of the inverters
Right.
either because I didn't want to buy another 55-foot run of 4-aught, or not 4-aught,
Yeah.
but 4 gauge.
Still, even
4
4
gauge
gauge
Either
is
one.
expensive.
It's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's so expensive, and I didn't have the need to run pass-through anyway.
And then Rodney, yours was an extension cord at some point, right?
At some point, what are you talking about?
Wasn't that how you were recharging stuff?
Yeah, like, okay, so
well, you're
I had my
doing your
charge.
grid boss stuff now, so
Well, now I
in
can do it.
flux.
I still have my charge inverter where I can plug it up basically to the 50 amp plug that's on the grid, and then I have that also where I can bring it over here to the shed, and that's what I was doing earlier. Well, actually, I was pulling it from my other solar system, but I had a EV charger, and I plugged it in and plugged up the charge inverter over here and started charging my batteries. So yeah, it works. At first they were telling you don't use the grid with a charge inverter. I'm like, that is crazy. I said, I'm using it. If it breaks, hey, I'm gonna learn something. I'm like, this don't even make sense. Like, what do you mean don't use the grid? Mine was charging it for emergency. So if there was a hurricane or something coming, I want to charge my batteries up.
Yeah.
So I want to use the grid. I don't want to use a generator. So
Right.
this is what it is.
Man, when I first had my setup
going to my inverters.
Yeah, my first setup, I had that transfer switch. I had my grid coming. Actually, so I had my power pole going to my house, and then from my house, I had one single set of overhead cables that dropped into my barn, and that was going into my main panel. So I would walk up to all the way up to the pasture up here where my main disconnect is 200 amp. I'd slam that thing off, and then I'd walk back to the house, and then I would turn on the breaker that went to the barn, and then I would go from the barn, flip the transfer switch, send energy back to the house through that wire, and then I would reverse it all to then charge the batteries at night for with the free nights plan. And then I did that twice a day, every day, and it was just a kind of a mess. But
Yeah,
it worked.
So Eric, do you Okay, Eric from Country Living Experience. Do you have the free nights plan available where you're at too? Because I know you must not be that far away.
No, no, we're on a co-op over here.
Okay, okay,
So it's totally different. Yeah.
okay. That'd be one of those nice plans to have, I guess.
It's okay, but they still get together and find ways to mess with you. Like that winter storm we had, Winter Storm Uri, was like 5 years ago. We had 2 feet of snow or whatever it was, and they're still backcharging everybody for that.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, every single month.
Yeah, I had a buddy who moved in to kind of that area just after that happened, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I get this bill that says, hey, by the way, we're going to start charging you for this, the past homeowners,
Yeah.
their electrical use or whatever." Like, thanks a lot.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me tell you what they did around here to some of the guys I work with. So the meter reader for like a couple of years wasn't actually doing the readings, I guess, where they live. And so the electric company came back and said, hey, we don't know what y'all owe us, but we're going to add on. And it was like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 for some
Good
of them at
grief.
Oh my
one
gosh.
time. And they're like, oh, we'll let you pay it over 3 months or something. You talking about some upset people. I'm telling you. I said, man, I said I would have turned my power off. I would have turned it off. I
Yeah.
would have been like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm done
Nope.
with y'all. I said, that's
Yeah.
your
been-
fault.
Yeah.
Man, guys, my
Would have
bill
been talking to a
this
lawyer
month,
friend.
Yeah.
my bill this month was $6. So I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah. I
Nice.
used like 13 cents a grid. Yeah.
And he has
Well, I
no
mean, it
solar
was
panels, really.
like
the
18
speed of.
there's
The
2,000
goat's
kilowatt
pooping on
hours
his
or
solar
something.
panels. And
Hey, did you?
But
Hey, Adam.
but it was like,
Adam,
go ahead.
Sorry, Adam. Did you see that question from DC Possum? It was back toward the beginning. I think it was a pretty solid one. If we could touch on that.
let me look
know
here real fast. One
not
comment
far after
from
your-
Retro Z Machine regarding what we were just talking about. I never thought about this on switching a 3-pole between your hots and your neutral, but you would end up disconnecting your ground neutral bond in your system if you completely isolate from the grid and disconnect that neutral. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, because at first I was thinking, oh yeah, you could split your neutral off fine, but I'd never thought about that bond.
Well, unless you had a bond on either side, because if it, well, no.
Then you cause other issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't
All
do it.
right. So
Don't disconnect the
DC
neutral.
Possum. Are you talking about the AC usage one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that was going to be my last one that I think I was going to get to, because we are a couple of minutes away from 9 o'clock. So this actually is going to apply more to you guys than to me, because you guys have higher temperatures than me. But how are your solar systems keeping up with your AC usage now that it's summertime?
Yep.
Just fine.
Pretty good. We took our whole home heat pump offline. I think it was a 3-ton, and we took that offline. I know I could have put a soft start on it and run it through, but I'm not a huge fan of forced air systems. And I installed all mini splits around the house, and we all know those are way more efficient, and they work incredibly well on our system. The system keeps up. The system that we have keeps up with no problem. And my house is 40 some odd years old. It has not great insulation, and they still do a fantastic job. And the system keeps up no problem.
Yeah, mine keeps up as well. So the last couple of weeks, my stuff's kind of been off a lot because I've been working on stuff here and there, and I just haven't been running my whole house. But I just know from the past that it works fine. It works to me better in the summer just because there's so much sun usually. So I get a lot longer days of sun. So hey, works fine for me. And now I got more batteries. So I got about 100 kilowatt hours on my house. and then I got
Wow,
43 on my
nice.
building here, and so I usually have enough now.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I've got the mini split here in this room, and it just sips energy all day long. And even with the amount of heat that all these inverters and batteries are putting out, and computers and monitors and lights and all that, man, it does fine here. Even had the dogs in here today, which I was like, I don't know, y'all smell pretty bad, and I don't need hair in my inverter filters. But it was super hot today. Just the humidity was so terrible. And then in the house, that 124K BTU mini split basically handles our entire house. Yeah, it gets a little toastier in the far reaches of the home, but we've got window units that are just set real high in those areas, and man, it's not bad at all. And keeping up just fine. I mean, in fact, most people that come over end up like using we got blankets all over the place because it almost keeps it too cold in the house.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
my
a little
wife is
little
wearing a
easier.
jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's insanely humid outside and 95 degrees or 100 degrees, coming into 80 degrees with dry air, it feels like it's freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think I keep mine at 77 or 78. It's so comfortable
Okay.
at those temperatures.
Yeah, we keep ours at 72, which makes it like 68 in the living room. So it's a little chilly.
That's cold.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one of
the
these
kids
days,
are always opening the door. It's all, so gotta keep.
Yeah, I got that. I got that problem too.
maybe one of these days I'll get my air conditioner actually on my solar setup full time. But right now, that's still one of the last couple of large items in my grid connected panel. So, wrong button. We are past our time, folks. I know that there's still a lot of questions in there, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to all of them. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I saw, I think, 80 folks on at any one time. I'm looking at, you guys were very chatty tonight at 280 comments.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I want to thank John again and Joe and Chuck for your super chats. And I do want to thank Eric for joining us tonight, being a special guest on our Unplugged live stream tonight. So, Eric, I'm going to hand it to you.
Thank you.
If you want to close out for yourself, and then we'll go to Rodney and Eric, and I'll drop Eric's channel links and information in the chat again if anybody missed it from earlier. So, Eric from Country Living Experience, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you guys for having me on. This is really cool. I had a blast, and maybe we can do it again. And Adam,
Definitely.
I want to thank you personally because you and I have talked on email before, and you helped me with some Victron questions that I had. So it's really cool to have this community that we can bounce things off each other. And I know I've seen Rodney and Eric comment before. I've been all over the place. It's a great little community, and I appreciate the connections and talking through this stuff.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Well, of course, we appreciate Adam for pushing the buttons and hosting. We all have had our problems with that stuff before, so we definitely appreciate it. And we appreciate Eric for coming on here. It's always fun to have somebody new to talk to and just get their experiences and see why they kind of got into solar and just everything they do. And so that's pretty fun. I will get out some videos at some point. I know I've been telling all this for weeks, but at some point I'm gonna get some videos out, and I have all kinds of content, all kinds of stuff recorded, and I just need to get it out there. So hopefully soon. And we'll go ahead and go to Eric, old Eric, original Eric.
Very nice. Okay, the old outdated Eric. Here we go. No, hey guys. So yeah, thanks for being here. Everybody in the chat, man, it's so much fun, and like trying to keep up with that, and then also listen to the conversation, but also want to be part of the chat. It's a struggle, I'll be honest. But Yeah. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention, when we were talking about things that we've been doing, because I was kind of thrown off with that question earlier because I wasn't paying attention. When it hasn't been raining, I've been doing a ton of logging, and y'all, I've hauled so many
Mhm.
logs, um, and I've got a lot of projects, a lot of milling coming up. So if you guys are into woodworking and timber framing and that kind of stuff. I know I've been promising it for years, but now that I've got just like, I don't know, so much wood to deal with, we're gonna make it happen. So that's coming up soon. And yeah, it's been fun. Eric, man, it's great to finally meet you. And
Yeah, you
we'll
too.
we'll have to get together in real life at some point. So we'll do that.
Sounds
And
like a plan.
Adam, thanks for pushing the buttons. And Rodney, get a video out sometime soon, and we'll be looking forward to seeing that.
That's right.
All
Well,
right.
folks, we have planned next week. We will have Logan from Midnight Solar joining us, and we will be doing a giveaway next week. So I'm just going to throw that out there now. I mentioned it last week, mentioned it this week. I'm not telling you what it is because where's the fun in that? Got to get you coming back and wanting more, right? So with that, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all stay safe, stay cool, and we'll catch up with you later.